Damon, Steve Beckstead, the master. We got Yoda in Utah Valley. We got the NRA Master Training Counselor here in Salt Lake Valley. So either way, we're set. So anyway, we're gonna do a special little thing for you today. If you remember back, it's been a few months. I did a review on N82 Tactical Holsters and gave them really high marks. And they sent me one that was for what I carry specific. It was the Executive, I want to say. Executive? I can't remember all these names. Anyway, so it was a plastic molded high stuff, like way better than just the Kydex stuff. Loved it, loved it. So anyway, I had a different one they sent me. Let me just highlight that for a sec. That this is the elastic, okay? So you got the same type of clip right here. But it's elastic, it's not the molded plastic type stuff. And of course all the same, you know, you got your non-slip suede, your oil leather, and you got your neoprene in the middle. Love this stuff. So I gave this to Steve to test out for a while and play with. And so we're gonna go over his impression. Okay.
Okay, I really like the comfort of this particular holster. You got the suede on the back. It molds to your body a little bit. Some of the Kydex ones, which I use a lot of, don't, and they can be a little uncomfortable because they kind of rub. You get those little heat spots going. I have a horsehide holster that I finally had to give up using because it would rub and I get a blister. Wow. And it was a top end like $150 holster.
Jeez.
This is much more economical and it works very well. You've got a good clip here. Not one of these easy ones that will fall off or break. It's solid metal. It also has the hook, as you can see right here, that will actually, if you want to bring that up a little closer, pull that out, just separate it from the side so you can see how it hooks in. That will hook over your belt and underneath the lip of the belt on the bottom, and that will keep it from coming out. One thing we often see with the cheaper holsters is that they will, if you pull the firearm out, the whole thing comes with it.
Yep.
And this won't do that.
Retention hook.
Yeah, retention hook. That's a good way to put that.
Make that up. Retention hook. Whatever.
Okay.
All right.
Made in the USA. We like that a lot. It will fit many. This is set up for a square trigger guarded firearm. And I tried it with several. I tried it with a Glock. It's kind of thick for this particular model. But then I switched over to the classic John Browning 1911. This is a blue gun. It fit in there. It went right down, covered the trigger guard completely. It barely extended below the bottom. And I've worn this around the house, walking around, kicking around. It works. It holds the gun there, and it never moved, which I was really impressed with. Often as you're walking, just the movement, as your hips move up and down, the muscles that you have on the sides of your hips and that will actually push things. And I had one gun that I was carrying in a holster that all it was this part. They call it the Band-Aid style. And what happened is the darn thing pushed right up like this. Because as I was walking, my leg would push it up. This doesn't happen in this because you got the protection here on the back.
So let me bring that closer here. So you can see now. I actually told Steve, and I know they sent this to me for a smaller, so not a full-size firearm. And Steve decided to mess with it anyway and stretch it to its outer limits, which is cool. That's what we do, right? And this is a full-size 1911. This is a blue gun, obviously. But I am amazed at how well that fit. I came in and was like, holy smut, looks great. So you do have a little extension, which is really not that big of a deal. But the retention is really, really good. You can tell that's pretty darn good.
When you have it in your belt, you've got the belt itself is your retention holding the
so it's even
firearm back.
Molded around it. Now you guys remember I said how flippin' comfortable this thing was, and it really is. And you found the same.
Yeah,
same
very,
result,
very
right?
comfortable.
Super duper comfortable. Okay. Now, we do have agreement on the one issue. What is that one issue, Steve?
One issue we found is when you have your firearm and it's on your hip, and I was carrying it right about here, as you go to get your firing grip, you have to drive your thumb in this manner in order to withdraw the firearm. And with the 1911, your thumb's on top of the safety, or under it if you're keeping it on, coming out. That's the only thing we noticed, is it does hold it tight enough. You really have to drive that thumb down in there.
Okay,
And
now
that was the experience you told me you had.
That's true.
as well.
And what I did is I called it actually a learning curve, okay? Because to be honest, this is not made for the full-size 1911. I get that. What it is made for is something smaller, say like PK 380 by Walther. But understand that PK 380 also has a thumb safety, just like the 1911. So there is that learning curve, and whether you call it an issue or not, it's up to you, okay? You have to drive that thumb behind there, and if it's all against you, and here we go with the same principle that if you're thinner, it's easier to carry. Sorry, back's alive. Driving that thumb there to get what you need to get that out. Okay, so it's funny that Steve has the exact same review I do basically on this thing. So that either means that we are of the same mind, or I'm just not nearly as dumb as I look. You pick. I don't really care. Okay.
We don't know.
I like the fact that full size fits in. That's a great little option. I wonder if the Nates.
I don't know if they did that on purpose. It was just, I don't have a really small gun. In fact, the smallest one I had was this of the Smith & Wesson revolver, a dummy gun, and we found that this obviously is set up for a semi-auto. So we tried to put it in with the size of the cylinder and the way the trigger guard sits lower on the firearm. It just wouldn't go in safely. So you can see that doesn't quite fit.
I can jam it in there, and I don't recommend it simply because you're really working the edges here where the material is. Okay, so I don't recommend to really jam that in there. This is a little bit wider right here, then that would fit in very nicely. And I'm sure they have
they have
for that too.
revolver specific ones.
So that actually looks pretty good right there, but this is pushing the edge of the seam quite a bit. So I wouldn't really do that, but you can see that covers the whole thing really, really nicely, and that would actually conceal really, really well inside the IWB, inside the waistband. So, yep.
There is one other point on any holster that is of this style, and that is once the firearm comes out, and it might be that you're one of those lucky 7 to 9 out of 10 people that don't have to shoot, depending on which year the study you look at was done in, you have to put the gun back away. Now, it's not easy to get it back in.
True that.
And that's something you need to be aware of, so that when you're not caught, or you don't get caught while trying to put your gun in, and you've got one of the XDs or the Glocks or one of the striker fired guns, and you're trying to force it in there, and that can be really bad because you might snag on something, and next thing you know, gun goes bang. Yep. So make sure once you get it out, if you have to put it in, the simplest way is to remove this completely.
Yep.
Put the gun in it, and then in a discreet manner, go to the lavatory or wherever, then put it back in. Don't do like the guy did in a class I did and drop his pants to adjust his holster in front of the men and women on the range, which was not what you want to do.
Don't do that.
So we really like these, made in the USA. We've met the two Nates, and they're
cool guys.
Here is their logo, if you want to show them that, real close there. NateSquaredTactical.com. And that makes me dizzy. There you go. But they
cool
have
sticker. Free
a
with
really
every
good
holster.
website. You can get a nice catalog from them as well. That they've been doing some really great stuff. It's a family affair, husbands and wives.
Yep.
And we
So
quite like what they're doing.
Looks like they have an LC9 or something on here. They have a 1911 on here, not a full size, and they have the Beretta Nano just on the front right here. So gives you an idea of exact. That's probably one of the Nates right there, the model. I don't know. Good stuff though. We like this product. This is just a nice little leave behind pamphlet. There's both Nates and their wives right there. Okay, cool guys. You remember that the review we did with Ron and everything. We started that there at their booth in SHOT Show with Steve and I. Steve was filming, and yeah, these are really cool guys. So
Really
Facebook
nice
as well.
people.
Nate Beard, which has less of a beard, I think, wasn't that right?
Yeah, we were.
And Nate
kidding about
Johnson
it.
has more beard, so that was kind of funny. But anyway, really cool product, really good product. Just be aware, like we talked about, on this one here that has the elastic, it's not actually the molded type plastic.
Make sure you match the firearm size to the holster.
Correct. I'm looking to see if that one,
I don't
oh, it's the
recall.
professional, not the executive, the professional.
Professional is what you got.
Okay, the
Yeah, that's
professional.
right.
And this one is the original. Okay, so yeah, it helps if I read this stuff. Good stuff. So they can also do custom with the trace Crimson Trace laser guard, so they can do that as well. That's good stuff. Okay, another $10 it says. But just be aware if you've got the elastic, that returning the firearm to the holster is not going to be necessarily quick and easy. However, I will give them credit here. The single clip, because most of these types of holsters, they're going to have a clip over here and a clip over here, the extension, yada yada yada. Like we've all seen these, kind of call them hybrids now, but I don't even know. There's so many names. I like the single clip. I got to admit, I really like the single clip on it because it is easy. Now the no slip suede sometimes makes it a little difficult to slip on it. You might have to adjust your, but you know, I learned to do it anyway. It's another learning curve. But when I did get it, it was just being able to slip that in, breathe in, you know, slip that in the pants with a one clip is 10 times easier than the double clip. Okay, and so that's a major positive as well. Okay, now this one doesn't rotate like the professional. Okay, but
it does hold it
yeah,
high enough.
See if it does have a little bit of a tilt, a little bit of a cant to it, just a little bit.
So it's high enough you can get a good firing grip, remembering drive your thumb down in between.
It's comfortable. It's soft.
Right. Don't let your wife see that. She'll want to.
It's a beard comber.
Oh, no. I don't think so.
No.
N82Tactical.com if you want to check them out. We really like their product.
What grade are you going to give them?
I'd give this one a good solid A. Making sure your firearm matches the holster, but that's part of doing it right.
Yep, so I give it solid A minus, and it just for the reasons of, to be honest with you, I like the professional better, just because it's molded your firearm. That's your in and out ability and stuff like that. But,
that's a good point.
you know, cost wise, they're pretty darn good as well. So, anything else?
I think that covers the Nate Squared Tactical, guys.
Check them out. That's N, letter N, like Nate, the number 8, the number 2, tactical.com. So N82Tactical.com. Call now. Operators are standing by. Not really. Just go check out the website. Awesome.